Hey there, Facebook. Hey there, Instagram. It's so good to be here with you. I'm Donna Hoffman, and they call me the Interior Design Advocate because I am on a mission as one of the leading coaches in the nation to wipe out decorating and design frustration, wipe out the ugly room, wipe out the room that's making you nuts or unhappy. And we stop everything we're doing here at our luxury design company at 4 p.m. every Tuesday, and we come out here and we teach a lesson. Because what we're all about here at the Design Advocate is about empowering you, not with one-off ideas and a one-off random group of ideas for how to do X, how to do Y, and then it doesn't get you any place. We're all about full systems, full process, and that's what we do in the wonderful online courses that I teach and offer for you as well. And something exciting coming up pretty soon in the way of a brand new workshop. So we'll be giving you details about that when there are more details to share. And today we're talking about a topic near and dear to my heart. And I know it is for a lot of you because window treatments can be a real bugaboo for you, can be very frustrating. I'm getting lots of hellos and highs from everybody, so hello to you on Instagram and hello to you on Facebook. Yes, window treatments can be a frustrating bugaboo, hence the title of today's Facebook Live, Window Treatments Are Hard as Hell. Why do I say that they're that tough? Well, I want you to know that it's not you. You are a brilliant, talented design diva. You have everything you need to be successful up here. You do. You've got the talent, you've got the brains. You are definitely missing some strategy when it comes to window treatments, but it's not just you. Designers get out of design school with really very commonly not enough training on window treatments. So it's a knee-knocking experience for newbie designers. It's a knee-knocking experience for junior designers that started at design companies with us. It's also very common to feel so overwhelmed by your window treatments that you don't even do them. Now, if you're doing a super modern, minimalist kind of interior, you may want to, by choice, have an untreated window. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the design styles that you are doing right now. Some of you love farmhouse, and some of you love traditional, and some of you love transitional, and some of you are Cali casual, and some of you are doing a fun boho something right now, and some of you are glam, and some of you are rustic, yada, 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 yada. On it goes. The design style doesn't matter. No matter what your design style, whatever the treatments are that are appropriate to your style, that's where the stress point is coming. Handling those window treatments. But why? Why are window treatments so confounding? Let's face it. If you and I went to buy a new pair of shoes, we would take our feet with us to the store, and let's say we were buying shoes for a new dress that we're wearing to a wedding. Look at the shoes, what matches my dress, what fits my feet. On you go. That's it. Window treatments, not quite so simple. Look at all that you have to juggle. Think about it. You're juggling what are your functional needs on that window treatment. Does it have to do something to your window so you're more comfortable in the room, privacy, and a couple of other of the functional options, right? Or what are your design needs so that it's appropriate for the design of the room, appropriate for your open concept or your contained space, appropriate for your design style. And then within that, what about the different windows that you're handling? My shoe analogy, you got your 2 feet, you bring them with you to the store. Windows, you're talking about different shape windows in the same room or adjoining rooms or in open concept. Windows and doors, glass doors, single glass doors, French doors, sliders. You're talking about specialty windows, arches and eyebrows and transoms that go on top of windows. You're talking about single windows, double windows, triple windows. You're talking about windows and doors at different heights. It gets maddening, right? As opposed to take your feet, go to the shoe store, pick out a new pair of shoes. So it's perfectly normal that you feel kind of tense, kind of humming when it comes to doing your window treatments. So what starts to happen is either you don't plan for them because you hate thinking about them. So by the time you do get to them, your budget is womp womp, you know, completely depleted, or you just don't want to make a costly mistake, so you avoid them. And when you think about the number of windows in your home, the average home today has 16 windows. It's a lot of room for wasted dollars and big costly mistakes that you have to deal with for a long time if you make the wrong decision. So the first thing I'd love to do is I'd like to hear from you. I'd love for you to type to me in the comments section. Tell me, what is it that makes your knees knock when it comes to window treatments? I want to see where you are with everybody here who's here live. And Katie, you can just let me know on Instagram what my Instagrammer Design Divas are saying, and I'll take a look at what my Facebook livers are saying to me. But just type in, what is it about window treatments that really bothers you most? If you could wave a wand, what would you do? And I know you're all going to say cost, but let me tell you something. You can do beautiful things with ready-mades if you know what you're doing. If you know how to design them, hang them, and style them. So can't always blame cost on this, okay? So if you want to say cost, you can, but if you just say cost, include something beyond cost. What is it about the designing of treatments that starts to really get you nervous? So let me see what people are saying. Okay, well, people are saying all kinds of things. Joyce is really excited about coming to the conference. Hi, Joyce, I can't wait to hug you in person, girlfriend. I can't wait to see you at the Design Diva conference, so good. Margaret loves the title of today's workshop or Facebook Live, Window Treatments Are Hard as Hell, because it resonates, right, Margaret? I get it. Sally is saying she is literally hanging her rods right now. Ugh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so Susan has a question, which I'll get to. Susan wants to know how much puddle should be on the floor, so we'll talk about that. Debbie is saying balances are so hard with that kind of, not a smiley face. What do you call that face? The angry face? The angry face, okay. Mish is saying treatments have such an impact. Starting is the problem. Dealing with style and function. Said like a brilliant woman, Mish. I'm going to repeat that. Window treatments have such impact, but starting is the problem to get style and function right. Cool. Juanita is saying the skinny curtain rod. Oh, we've got to come back to that. Got to talk about the skinny curtain rod because that is a problem, and I'm going to tell you why, Juanita. Sunroom windows. So Terry is saying sunroom windows are a challenge. That's got to mean, I'm going to translate, I'm going to extrapolate that Terry's also talking about those walls of windows. We haven't even talked about that, right? Two-story windows, walls of windows. On it goes. Sharon is saying she has severe allergies, so she needs to have things that are washable in window treatments. Ready-mades can really help, but requires a lot of searching. Totally get you on that one, Sharon. Lori on Instagram is saying measuring windows is what gets her loopy. Window tab, great point. So the window treatment material, now, you guys use the word material differently than we in the design industry do. Material in the design industry can mean something that something's made of, right? It could be stone, it could be cloth, it could be ceramic, right? It could be tile, whatever. So fabric is when you're talking about window treatments and you talk about materials, do you mean wood, like a woven wood? Do you mean wood like a shutter as a material? Do you mean fabric, right? So there are different materials to choose from, and that gets maddening. And if you're just looking at fabric, how do you find the right color? How do you find the right pattern? How do you find the right drape, the right hand? If you took a shirt out of your closet, looked at that fabric, and you kind of bunched it together. If it's a silk shirt, you'd see that it really falls very softly and beautifully into folds, probably very flattering on your body too. And if it's made of linen, not really so, flexible and not taking the needle well, right? Not taking the hand and the drape well of that treatment. So how a fabric weight and drape will work is a whole other discussion. And a lot of young designers and as well as design lovers who are picking out fabrics for treatments, if you don't know how to pick out the right fabric for your treatment, let's say you're doing semi-custom, or let's say you're looking at ready-mades, you cannot expect manufacturers to get it right all the time. They don't. If a fabric is too stiff and you put it into panels, it will do something at the bottom called kicking. And rather than the fabric hanging to a beautiful, straight, relaxed drape to the floor, you'll see that the edges will go pop, and that's called kicking. Same thing on a valance. Depending upon how well sewn it is, you can get some kick on that valance, and also has to do with the fabric. Now, on the other side of that fabric story, if it's too Soft and drapey of fabric, it could be beautiful for panels, terrible for Romans. Can't do Roman shades out of something that's just, you know, all floppy and doesn't have enough body to stand up to whatever it is you're doing. That was my Martha Graham-esque modern dance interpretation of floppy fabric. That was me. So now you know why I did not become a mime or a dancer. Anyway, I want to talk about that skinny curtain rod that Juanita brings up. Definitely want to get back to that. Other problems, Margaret saying, should you choose the same fabric and pattern throughout open concept? That's actually a big question with a big answer, and I'll see if I can have time to get to that. Joanne is saying measurements, have no idea what I'm doing. Sally is saying 2-story rooms with upper and lower windows. I get it. Listen, Sally, quick advice, a quick lesson on those upper and lowers. You don't have to treat your upper windows in 2-story. Did you know that? You can leave those untreated and still get a really great look. Sliding glass doors are the devil. That's so cute. That's what Mary said. Mary, I want to send you a hug. That is so cute. I might have to co-opt that. I might have to quote you, sliding glass doors are the devil. I like it. Bunny is saying, I want to buy gray and white striped curtains, but I can't find them in the store. Scared to buy them online because I don't know what fabric to buy. Well, make sure you know your return policy. So if you don't like the drape, like I was saying, Bunny, you can haul them on back. Let's see, window treatments and drapes are all a problem for Maureen. Okay, so I'm getting kind of the same. Oh, bay windows. Okay, that's another problem for people. Sunroom with 6 sliders. That's what Yvonne has. Okay. All right, so you can see that these problems are really broad, really varied, right? Well, here's the thing. You know me. Design is strategy. My lovelies, when you have strategy under your belt, you become a powerhouse. You become unstoppable. And knowing where to start your thinking is half of the battle. Just as if I asked you to go into the kitchen and start making an elaborate, you know, strawberry shortcake, but I had you start in the middle of the recipe before you had all the ingredients pulled, all the correct ingredients prepped, and if you started combining things out of order, you'd be in trouble, right? Analogies, because I don't know a thing about sports, so that's why I use a good baking analogy. With window treatments, it's even more important in your design project because your window treatments surround one of the most expensive and important pieces of your architecture, all that glass you paid for, or if you bought your house outright, or if you're sending in a rent check, all that glass is expensive. And that glass, AKA your windows, part of the focal point of any room. Of course, you can always add a fireplace, you can always add a coffered ceiling, but every room that you have windows in, those windows command attention. And it is a great misnomer and misunderstanding that, oh, I'll ruin my view if I put on window coverings. Wrong. If you put on the wrong window coverings with lousy proportion where you are covering up too much glass, yes, you will screw up your view. But if you understand strategy, all the decisions you have to make and the correct path you have to think through, proportion becomes easy. But aligning your thinking, as I was starting to say before, getting yourself on a clear path so that you are thinking step A, step B, step C, answering the right questions in your mind's eye and on a notebook. It's a good way to start when you're just learning to conquer this. Really makes the decision-making process so much easier. You guys, a lot of you are just jumping to the end result without knowing that early planning, okay, and strategy and strategic thinking. And as with the recipe, and I've said this in some of my workshops that you may have attended, recipes aren't hard. You follow the order, you get the chocolate chip cookies at the end. But if you start making things up and jumping through hoops and kind of wiggling and band-aiding things, you get a lumpy mess at the end of that baking session, and certainly in design, you get a total mess in your home. And I was starting to say earlier that average home has 16 windows. Think about it. If you spend just $100 a window, which we know is virtually impossible to do, that's $1,600 worth of mistakes if you get it wrong. You spend $1,000 a window, $16,000 out the window. $500 a window, you know, $8,000 in mistakes. So knowing what you're doing with those window treatments is so important. Window treatments are more, there's more to consider than I need a new table in my kitchen. Well, you need to know you get the right size table. It has to work with the other finishes in your kitchen. Boom. As we said with window treatments, a lot to consider. So here's what I'd like you to start to do. And Juanita, I am going to talk to you about that skinny rod in just a second. But here's what I'd like you to do. And in honor of the workshop, the free workshop I'll be launching in the not too distant future, and we'll release information for you when we have that. In honor of that, I'd love for you to do the following to start getting your thinking aligned. In whatever room it is that you are having trouble with those window treatments, I would like you to photograph that room. Just take one picture of your space. But do you know how to photograph a space? A lot of you don't. I want you to take your camera, your phone, and in the camera mode, I want you to shoot it in landscape, not this way on your phone, but this way. And I want you to stand back so you get as much of that window wall as possible. So stand in the middle of the wall facing your windows, across the room. And I want you to get ceiling and floor in the room. And then I want you to print that out on regular printer paper. And I want you to start aligning your thinking. This is a really big topic, right? I can't teach you everything you need to know about window treatments in a Facebook Live, but again, I want you to start aligning your thinking. Print that out, and I want you to circle the 3 problem areas around your windows that you perceive are your problems. Maybe it's, I don't know, you've got my sliding glass door is the devil problem. Maybe it's that you don't have a lot of clearance on one side of your window. It really abuts the wall. Circle that. Black Sharpie marker. I want you to circle the problems that you perceive in that room that are your challenges that are shutting you down. And then in your notebook, did you know you needed a notebook? Get a notebook. And I want you to then translate that in writing. What are the struggles that I have? The top 3 struggles. And then I want you to write down the top 3 goals that you have for that window treatment. Is it a functional goal, controlling light? Is it a design goal? Is it to support a mood in a room? Design, by design goals, I mean, what is the aesthetic goal? Because there are so many things aesthetically that window treatments do. So let's start to align your thinking there. And in the weeks ahead, every Facebook Live that we do between now and the time I launch this wonderful free window treatment workshop is not going to be about window treatments, but a couple of them will be. And so we'll be coming back to and winding back to this, okay? So that's something that you can get started on. So in the meantime, let me answer some of your questions. I have a meeting to get to with a builder in a couple of minutes, so let me just see how many questions I can get to. Juanita, the thin rod. So here's what you need to know, Juanita. Everybody, listen up. When you hang a drapery panel, the fabric at the top has to support all the weight of that panel. And you might be thinking, oh, it's fabric. I put on a shirt. How much fabric is that? Not a lot. So it's not very heavy. But if you have yards and yards and yards of fabric, and let's say it's a velvet, or let's say it's a heavy cotton, a 2-story treatment, for example, one panel could be 40 pounds, 30 pounds. If you're talking about a single story of window panels, just one panel can weigh, 10 pounds, 15 pounds if it's a really heavy, heavy fabric. So you're right, Juanita, that thin rod may not work with whatever treatment weight you are working with. So those super thin rods are not always a great idea unless it's a small window. If you're doing a cafe curtain, thin rods look adorable. They're great, little teeny thin rings. But super thin rods, definitely be careful of your weight and of your fabric. And you also need to think about the expanse of your window. How wide is that window? The wider the window, the thicker the rod needs to be, right? Because you need some weight behind it. And then certainly the higher you're mounting that rod, 2-story, you could not do a little skinny rod, because did you know that when you lift things higher and higher and higher over your head, they get smaller? Yes, that is why so many clients look at light fixtures that we bring in and they say, oh, Donna, Katie, that window, that light fixture looks huge. That's going to be too big for our foyer. And we say, wait a sec. Wait till it gets hoisted up there, and then it shrinks when it gets up there. Same thing with your window rods, right? Your treatment rods. So Juanita, be real careful of those thin rods. for cost purposes, sometimes people want to trade down on that rod, and then you have this warping rod if you're doing ready-mades. Okay, so again, there's a lot more to it. I'm shorthanding it for you, but I'm trying to cram as much information and takeaway for you as I can into this this live. And I can see there are a lot of questions coming in, so I'm so happy we'll be tackling this topic again. And Katie's telling me final 2 questions, otherwise I'm gonna be late for my meeting and I will get yelled at. Okay, there was another really good question. I'm getting hearts and happy things here. That's so good. Love you guys back. Oh, and I want to encourage you. I wrote a great piece of content. I put a link up for you, but it's called How Window Treatments Can Transform Your Space, Rules of the Road. So I have that in the description on Facebook. Sorry, Insta, you'll have to zip over there. But I encourage you, take a read. It's packed with some really good information, and there's a nice freebie tucked into that as well that you can grab too. There was another really great question that came in other than, oh, the puddle. Susan, I didn't want to forget you. How much puddle on the floor? Susan, I don't know exactly what design style you are doing. So puddling can be a little bit more formal looking, and certainly the fabric also affects that sense of formality. Here's what I'm going to say to you, Susan. How do you feel about having to keep refluffing and puffing the bottom of your treatments every time you vacuum? If you don't want to keep restyling them, I would not do a very large break. In general, a super puddle has not been a trend for a while. Treatments are breaking on the floor. Some of us call it a gentleman's pants break. You ever see a guy in a really good looking suit? How about, let's do this fantasy, Design Divas. A really good looking guy in a really good looking suit. And you look at how his pants might break on his shoe. Not the super skinny, really the super skinny pants that some guys are wearing now don't really break on their shoe. All right, a trouser that breaks on a man's shoe, and you have a little bit of that break, that type of 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch break on the floor looks really good, Susan, in any design style, whether you're farmhouse, transitional, rustic, traditional, boho, always safe. If your treatments are opening and closing, no break on the floor, guys, because you have to let them open and close. And doing this over and over with fabric that's dragging on the floor, you will wear out your fabric. So no break. Has to be 1/4 of an inch above the floor. That bothers some people. It looks like, you know, high water floods to people, but it's just the rules of the road when you have a traversing treatment. So Susan, that's what I would say to you in terms of puddle. Not a super on-trend look right now. That said, you love a puddle. It's your home. Puddle it up. But just know that you will be constantly refluffing and repuffing that puddle every time somebody hits it, kicks it, the dog or the cat whacks it, or a vacuum cleaner hits it. Okay, so I have time for one more question. Getting thumbs up on that one and smiley faces. That's also good. What other questions did I miss? I'm sorry if I missed you. Okay, bay window. Bay window. French doors. Need light. What's the best treatment? Takara is asking a great question about French doors. I would like pictures to be able to show you what to do on that door, so I could show you with examples, Takara. All right. Okay, so let me see, what can I do that's a more general teaching question? Okay, Shelly is asking about bay windows. All right, so here's the story on bay windows. There are curved bays and there are angled bays. I'll talk about angled bays. With bay windows, you've got a couple of choices. If there is room between, and again, Shelly, I don't know your design style. I don't know your design fingerprint. Fingerprint is different than your style. And I don't know what your budget is. And I don't know what else is in the room around that bay window. So this is going to be a more general answer for you, but let's go for it, girlfriend. So with bay windows, you can always just do drapery panels on the outside of the bay, always safe, or you can do panels on the outside of the window and a shade on each of the windows within the bay. That is a viable look. Or for budget purposes, no panels, and just you can do shades on each of the individual windows. If there is room, you could do shutters on just the individual windows as well. And if there is room between your windows, you could, I'm driving up the budget, you could do panels between each of the windows as well as on the outside of the bay as well. Gets pricier. The more panels, the more fabric, the more installation and so forth. And the rod is going to be cutting and moving through the angle of that bay. Okay, so there are a couple of additional options for bays, but hopefully that should get you going, get you started. You could do a valance, a custom valance through the bay with shades beneath or with panels beneath as well. Alrighty, so that's just a couple of quick off the top of my head answers for you. All right, Design Divas, you guys are brilliant. I love these questions, love this topic for you. I'm excited. And I want to let you know that if you found this video helpful, please give it a share and definitely check out that link for that great piece of free content, which is called How Window Treatments Can Transform a Space, Rules of the Road. And definitely, if you're not already connecting with us on Instagram, give us a follow on Instagram at decorating.genius. That's at decorating.genius, because we love being with you as much as you love being with us, and we love being in service to you. All right, guys, I've got to get going. I've got a meeting to get to, got to get myself fluffed and puffed out the door. I will see you next Tuesday. Oh, here's our topic for next Tuesday. This is a goodie too. Ready for this one? I get a lot of questions about design trends, so that's what we're talking about next week. We're talking about how interior design trends work. So that's the topic for next week, how interior design trends work. If you missed this video live, you can go back and watch it live on Facebook, or in another day or so, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. Okay, lovelies, I love seeing you. You look good, you look cute, you look smart, you look bright. I can't wait to see what you're doing in your home. And I'll see you next Tuesday for how interior design trends work. Have a great week, everybody.